And now with the latest from the wide world of sports and weed, it's Thrasher Sports with Herb Thrasher and Radical Russ. Hey. Now, here's Herb Thrasher.
Hey, everybody. What's going on out there, man? It's so good to be with you. So glad you guys invited us out for another night. Russ, they did invite us, right?
We were invited. We're like vampires. We can't come in unless we're invited.
That's right. So I'm just kidding, man. We kind of forcing ourselves on you. But it's another Tuesday night, and on Tuesday nights from now on, Russ, we're going to be busy on here at 420radio.org talking about sports, talking about weed, talking about news. Who knows what we're going to be talking about?
A lot of stuff going on between college football and pro football, and it just turned out to be so much. It was too much to put in the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour.
That's right.
It spilled over onto Tuesdays.
That's right.
You got your Thrasher Hour all over my Tuesdays.
Well, we had, it was like, Friday nights, for those of you watching now maybe aren't familiar with our Friday night show, we have Herb Thrasher Flower Hour on Friday nights, and we rock hard, and we rock 420-wise, and we just spread freedom. And we also like to talk a little sports. And sports was a fun segment, and it just got to be so much, especially in this fall season, in certain seasons when you have 3 major sports going on, and then you have other alternative sports, and you have some other news. And we thought it would be great to kind of combine all that into one show. And as you guys know, by watching the Russ Belville Show Monday through Fridays right here on this network at 3 p.m. Pacific, we can combine a lot of that stuff into a show too. And so, for right now, Thrasher Sports, we're here, we're excited. This show is going to grow. This is kind of like an informal kind of introduction, and we're going to see where this takes us. But as of right now, man, as we said, a lot of sports going on. And speaking of sports, right now, Russ, we have the Major League Baseball playoffs going on. Right now, game on, Boston Red Sox, 7th inning, losing to the Tampa Bay Rays, 1-0. So that's a huge game because Boston is up 2-1. If they win this game, they move on to the championship series, with Oakland and Detroit are tied at 2-2. So we have a game 5 going on that series. And Russ, I think you've heard me talking a little bit about the National League Series.
Yes, a little bit about some team from Los Angeles.
Oh, my
Los Dodgers!
Man.
Los Dodgers!
Man, last night was just one of the greatest sports nights of my life, man. Let me just set this up for you guys. I've been a Dodger fan since I was a kid. I mean, I'm Dodger. And then I moved to Alabama, and that was like Atlanta Braves country. And I was that sole Dodger kid, always Dodgers. Anyways, Dodgers,
and that was the years when Atlanta was winning all the time.
Well, that's exactly right. And so, see, the Dodgers, when I was a kid, Dodgers was winning all through the 80s. We won the last World Series in 1988. You guys have heard about it because everyone knows about the Kirk Gibson home run.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the same year. And so, won it in 1998. Haven't really done anything since. Made the playoff a time or two. But this year, finally, have a team make the playoffs against the Atlanta Braves again. Used to getting beat by these guys. We're up 2-1 last night in Dodger Stadium. Okay, Russ, the Dodgers go up 2-0. Sailing. All of a sudden, 5th, 6th inning, Atlanta comes back, ties it up 2-2.
Okay.
Now we have a game. And then in the 7th inning, the Dodgers choke. And they're scoring. Atlanta's scoring on errors. Now all of a sudden, Atlanta is up 3-2. And you just know, you just can feel like it's like a balloon with a needle through it just popped in the whole stadium. And Dodger Stadium is electric, I promise you. And so all of a sudden in the 7th inning, the Braves are up, and I'm thinking, man, this is no good. And then all of a sudden in the 8th inning, we bring in the Beard. If you guys don't know who the Beard is, in future shows, we're going to be a lot more prepared. And right now, we'd be showing you who the Beard is. But
you got Google. Look it up.
This guy you've seen him with the San Francisco Giants. Now he's a Dodger, and he's got the greatest beard of all. He's like the guy in Major League Baseball who was offered $1 million to shave his beard, and he turned it down.
Yeah?
He wears like a mohawk.
He's the ZZ Top of...
He is the ZZ Top of Major League Baseball. He comes in, shuts him down. And then all of a sudden, the Dodgers, out of nowhere, Puig, who's this sensation, he comes in, he gets a double with 1 out. And then it's like, okay, there's life. Standing in front of the TV, bottom of the 8th inning. Uribe comes up, they got him bunting. And you're like, what? Why are you bunting? Well, because you want to move him to third with one out, and then you can get a sacrifice fly to get the run in to tie the game. Uribe turns around to bunt, misses the first bunt. Turns around again to the second bunt, misses the second bunt. So now you have 2 strikes. You don't want to bunt on a third strike, and if you foul, it's counted as a strike and you're out. And so it's not really proper.
Oh,
so
it's not like a foul tip.
It's not like a foul tip when you're bunting.
Know that.
So you're out. That is a strikeout. And so that's why you don't usually bunt on 3 strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you got 3 strikes, and now everyone's going, what in the hell are we going to do? And then I'll be damned. I will be damned if the very next pitch, and here's another example, we're going to have these highlights for you, but we don't right now. But man, he threw a high curve, and Uribe just popped that thing completely out of the stadium. Dodger Stadium was up. Russ, my wife, my kid was in the bed. They were asleep. There was nothing I could do. You know what I did? I ran out the back door, ran around my driveway, and I was in the street, running up and down the street, just yelling and clapping as hard as I can. It was just amazing. Now the Dodgers are up 4-3. They come in, strike them out 1-2-3, game over. Dodgers win 3-1, and now are awaiting the winner of the Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals series, which kicks off tomorrow night at 8:07, which is 5:07 Pacific. And the winner of that will get the Dodgers. Amazing stuff going on in baseball right now.
There you
it
go.
usually is in October. You know, baseball in October really is an amazing sport. You know, there is something for that. Well, it's a long season. It just drags.
Yeah.
I can understand that. But if you just watch it from late September and especially October, you'll just get into some big-time stuff.
Yeah, well, at least watching baseball in October, you're not having to deal with the massive amount of pink all over the baseball diamond like the NFL football field. We're going to talk about the pink in the NFL when we come back. We've also got our fantasy football update we got to get to. And I understand there's college football going on in October,
too. A little bit
too.
of college football, and there was actually some great games this past weekend.
That's right.
I really enjoyed some of them.
We will check that out when we come back here on Thrasher Sports. Enjoy.
Stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the only way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak to my attorney, Omar Figueroa. Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at www.omarfigueroa.com. Hey, tokers and tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting.
Welcome back to Thrasher Sports. I'm Radical Russ with Herb Thrasher.
How's it going, everybody?
And now back to the sports. We've got NFL.
Oh, yeah, man. Lots of stuff going on.
First of all, we have guests in the house. They're upstairs, but Stoney and Snap are in from Atlanta, and they were watching that Atlanta Falcons game last night.
Woo.
And I was doing the Viper Hour, so I could hear them like stomping and yelling when there would be a touchdown or whatever. Didn't turn out good for them in the end, I guess, but
Wasn't able to watch that game, although I did watch the last 2 minutes. The Dodgers was going on last night, and there was no way I was missing that game.
Right.
But I did know that the Monday Night Football was going on. And, you know, I'm not surprised that the Jets won. You know, Monday Night Football, that game, you have to throw out everything. It's one of those games where you can't look at the records, you can't look at the problems, you can't look at anything, and the game can turn out anyway. And Jets last night, Geno Smith, rookie out of West Virginia, coming in with 3 touchdowns to drive them down. Nick Folk there in the end to kick a field goal with 3 seconds on the clock to beat the Atlanta Falcons. At home.
Yeah.
Which was a big game.
Yeah, so that means the Falcons now are 1-4. And I got to think that this is not what Tony Gonzalez had in mind when he put off his retirement again.
Yeah, no, it's not. And it's looking rough, too, Russ, because the Saints are sitting on top of that division at 5-0. So you have the Tampa Bay Bucks at 1-4. You have the Atlanta Falcons at 1-4. And you have the Carolina Panthers at 1-4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we'll check
and
those
then
standings.
You have the Saints at 5-0. So it's really looking rough for Atlanta. And on top of that, Russ, what really hurt him the big time, Julio Jones out for the season.
Out for the season. So you got no one for Matty Ice to throw to. You know, it's just it's not looking good for the old Falcons.
It's not looking good.
On the other side, in the AFC, Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos going to have to meet twice this year. They're both 5-0.
Man, those are 2 great teams. I'm sinking into the Chiefs right now. I think they're the more complete team.
Yeah.
The Broncos are riding Peyton right now. And no, don't get me wrong. The Broncos are a great team, got a lot of great players. But the Chiefs are just, I call them SEC tough. And that's just, it's just a saying that I like to use. But I just think the Chiefs are SEC tough all the way around.
Well, let's just give you a look at this. As far as total points scored in the NFL season to date, with 5 games in, the Denver Broncos have scored 230 total points, which leads the league as far as I can tell, just scanning up and down this. Yeah, it leads the league. Nobody in the NFC is even over 152 points, and that's surprisingly the Dallas Cowboys. But 230 points for the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, points against Kansas City Chiefs, 58 points against, leading the league. So you got a team that, well, they're tied. Carolina Panthers defense has held to 58 points total for the year. But still, that's you got the best, the least points allowed versus the most points gained. Something's got to break when those two teams.
I love those offense and defense games. I'm used to them, being an Alabama fan. But I love them, and I take defense every time. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of leaning to the Chiefs are definitely a for-real team this year. Not really rebuilding. The rebuilding is over for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a brand-new coach in Andy Reid, and he is someone has a chip on his shoulder, Russ, coming from Philadelphia Eagles. And I would think a lot of the players are adapting to his style of football there. And Chiefs and Denver are looking at a great divisional series going on.
Absolutely. In other divisional news, in the AFC North, all knotted up at 3-2 among the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. Each of those teams have 7 net points. That is, they've gained 7 more points than they've given up. So it's all looking very, very similar amongst those teams. And then in the NFC North, of course, knotted up at 3-2, the Lions and the Bears, who both lost. Of course, the Packers won their game at Lambeau to go to 2-2. They've had their bye week.
Yeah, Packers are usually right about now looking to get stronger.
Clay Matthews out with the thumb, got a broken thumb. He'll be out for a few weeks. But it should be noted, I think this was now the 20th. It was in the 20s straight losses at Lambeau for the Detroit Lions.
I know the Chicago Bears had a big loss for you that helped out.
That helped a lot. Again, the Saints pasted one on the Bears in Chicago. That was nice to see. The Seahawks fall to the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis looks like it's for real.
Man, they do, and that was pretty much without Trent Richardson.
Yeah.
And so once he gets going, because he really hasn't clicked with the team yet, and once he gets going, I look for the Indianapolis Colts to kind of take control of that division over there. Well, you got the Patriots, and Tom Brady is still Tom Brady, and Belichick is still Belichick, but you're looking at the next 10 years of Andrew Luck and Trent Richardson on the same team, and then you can just throw in people all around that offense, and they're going to be good to go.
Absolutely. And we've got all sorts of other scores throughout the league. Oakland Raiders.
I think Oakland's looking good.
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor, surprisingly, had an amazing game the other night against the San Diego Chargers. Really putting up some numbers, showing some confidence, showing some maturity out there, and it's something the Raiders aren't used to.
All right, well, let's get into a few of the games coming up next week. Giants are at the Bears. Giants having a tough time, 0-5.
Are having a tough time. Finally found some offense this week, but, man, they sure couldn't pull it out still. And not sure what's going on with Eli there. And the whole team, I think they had some injuries too.
Yeah, and looks as though the Chiefs are at home against the Raiders. I think the Chiefs will probably pull that game off.
I don't know.
The Jaguars head to Denver, so count that as a win.
But you can definitely count Denver as a win, but I would not count the Chiefs as a win. Raiders are playing very, very strong football right now, and that is a division game. And the Chiefs are 5-0, always looking for teams, and that means one thing, they're due.
Yeah. All right, let's get a little political on this. President Obama recently weighed in on the long-standing controversy over the name of the team from Washington. As some Native American groups complain that the term redskin is offensive, Obama said something to the effect is I would probably do something or look into listening to those folks and maybe changing the name. And as I was researching this, I found a comment that I thought was brilliant and could possibly be the solution. And this was, don't change the logo. Keep the Native American. Don't change the colors. Keep the crimson that they've got, right? But change the name from Redskins to Americans.
Huh.
The Washington Americans. And then the logo makes sense because it's a Native American.
Very interesting. I do like that idea. I might have to ponder that one a few. I don't know why I really need to ponder it. Maybe it's just thrown on me, but I kind of like that idea. I've never really come up with a solution myself.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I haven't been able to relate to that.
As we were coming through school, too, it was just that era when they started changing the name. Stanford went to the Cardinal.
That's right.
The Redmen went to the... What did they change their name to? There's a few teams throughout
there
college basketball and football. Interesting thought. And then the final thing I wanted to get to as far as NFL goes, and when we come back from break, we'll do some college football. But this pink all over the field, man.
Well,
this got to stop.
Why is football the only sport? Why did you? Because where is the tie-in? Is it NFL?
Well, the NFL's been in partnership with American Cancer Society for the past 5 years for this Crucial Catch campaign. But when you look at the real breakdown of the money, over 4 years, the NFL's given $4.5 million to breast cancer research. The NFL in 1 year makes $8 billion. Yeah. So the question is, are they just cynically using all this pink marketing to bring women in as fans? And then the other controversy was the players got these pink hand towels on their side, and the refs were throwing pink flags, and nobody could tell them apart.
Well, I was saying that exact thing watching the games on Sunday. I'll be honest. I was saying that, and they're going to have to change that aspect right there.
Next week, they're going back to yellow flags.
Yeah, it was way too confusing, and if the fans are confused, if I'm on my couch and I'm confused, then the players
in high def
and everyone has to be confused. And I saw a couple coaches on the sidelines very upset over that exact issue, and not surprised. But I think the NFL, it's one of those catch 50-50s or whatever. The NFL just wins either way. Just using this breast thing. I mean, I get it. It's great research. It's a great organization. It's a great thing for the NFL. But it is what it is, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and we've got, I've written an article, and it's up in hightimes.com on this that was published today. And the point I get to is that you know, you really want to do something about breast cancer, stop with the pink and start looking at the green. We got studies going back to 1974 showing that cannabis beats breast cancer, kills those cells, man. That's where we should do in the research.
Well, what is going on with this? Isn't there a commercial or something? Do we know what's going on with the normal?
Oh, the normal Super Bowl ad. Yeah, they're still in the Intuit.
They are still in it.
The QuickBooks contest, which was going to have people vote. They're on to the second round, and people can still vote. And I understand you can vote once a day. So if you want to keep going back,
well, I bring that up because that's a great way to. We pretty much know that Normal's not going to win a commercial on there, probably even by law. I don't know the laws, and I don't know how it's going to work. But just to have the NFL, just to have those three letters being talked with medical cannabis and research and just Super Bowl and commercial, to have it in our community, dude, that's huge. That's a lot of press that we can use.
Yep, it's what we call earned media. You know, it doesn't cost you nothing, and you get plenty of coverage throughout the news media. And I, as well as I'd like to get the info out about marijuana and cannabinoids and breast cancer research, that other research that we've got on THC versus concussions. Man, we found that you give someone THC shortly after a concussion, it can stop about half of the damage they get and then help rebuild the other half. Man, it's just should be a requirement. You get your bell rung, you go back to the locker room for a volcano. Do
you know if there's any research going on with that? Or is there?
Well, that's the thing, is trying to get more money toward this research is just about impossible in the United States because, if it's not to try to find out what's bad about pot, they won't.
But I'm talking about from the NFL because the NFL has the money.
Oh, no, not at the NFL side. No.
Even like, I guess
they're not. They're not going to look into it. They're not going to look into it. And it's such a shame because these guys that they end up with major depression, suicidal tendencies. I mean, you had Junior Seau,
Well, I think he just had a suicide not too long, like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
A 49er or something.
Well,
I'm not sure.
It sucks, and we'll keep an eye on that. But we're going to take a break right now, and we are going to go to a little bit of Grandpa's cough medicine.
Nice.
Liebermater, pull it up. This is some hillbilly music on Thrasher Sports. Enjoy. We'll be right back with NCAA.
Well, it's time to do some picking. It's time to make some noise. There's nothing I like more than playing music with the boys. And we ain't just whistling Dixie. Hell no. We came to lay it on the line. And if you like hillbilly music, I reckon we'll get along just fine. Well, we brought our trusty banjo and our guitar too. Of course we got the doghouse bass and our grass is blue. And we ain't just whistling Dixie. Hell no. We came to lay it on the line. And if you like hillbilly music, I reckon we'll get along just fine. Call us crazy and claim that we do drugs. Well, that may be, but mostly we get high on flattened scrubs. And we're down with dear old Dixie, wheelhouse, and I walk the line. Yeah, we dig hillbilly music and our buddy's big old jug of moonshine. Now, if you don't care for banjo, if it just don't sit right, well, I gotta tell you, you're in the wrong damn place tonight. Cause we ain't just whistling Dixie. Hell no. We came to lay it on the line. But if you love hillbilly music, I reckon we're gonna get along just fine. Oh, show 'em, banjo boy. With Grandpa's cough medicine, come and get yourself a dose. We ain't just whistling Dixie. Hell no. We came to lay it on the line. hillbilly music, I reckon we'll get along just fine. Yeah, if you love hillbilly music, I reckon we're gonna get along just fine. Let 'em bring in the beat.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let 'em bring in the beat.
Welcome back, everyone. Thrasher Sports, music from Xanag Crown. This machine. What the hell is Xanag Crown, man?
Dude, you got me, man.
That's one of yours.
Well, I don't know what the hell the name is. I just go by the music.
No, where the band is from.
Oh, yeah, they're from Los Angeles, industrial kind of metal. And taking, more like prom ministry.
Gotcha.
Kind of mix that in. So,
all right.
Real good band.
Good stuff. Well, before we get to NCAA, I had forgotten to cover our fantasy football league.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. We'll do it real quick. Because Emerald Tide is number 18.
I have never been a part of such a shitty team of anything. Like, even when I was like in Little League, I remember teams were good, and like football when I was in high school, I wrestled. We were good. I was always part of a good team. My fantasy team. I mean, this year, dude,
18th.
I have just sucked, man.
18th out of 20th, but I'm plunging and joining you. I'm 17th. I'm just.
Well, you know what's worse for me though, Russ, is I had 80 points on the bench.
Oh, that's.
Or
not
actually had more than that. I had 80 points in 3 guys on the bench.
Oh no.
Reuben Randall from the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who they've been sucking. Why would you have him in? Well, all of a sudden he goes for 3 touchdowns. 2 of them he returned punts or something. And then Nick Folk. Remember, I sat right here and drafted him. I said, it was like the last one, and I said, man, Mike Vick's he's bound to go down, and if he goes down, it's Nick Folk.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if they don't put him in.
Yeah, and wouldn't you know that Mike Vick went down? He's my quarterback, so I'm down to Brandon Whedon.
Oh, good luck with that.
Not so bad.
Anyways, who's leading?
All right, so leading the league, the only undefeated team, Purple Kush Punishers, at 5-0, and that's just because they have Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning put up 76 points in our league. Again, now, Rocket City Redbuds, who he beat, which is Jim, had Jay Cutler, who put up 49. For the Bears against New Orleans, but just wasn't enough. And like you, had 2 starters with 0 points. Tight end Kyle Rudolph had a bye, and Darren McFadden, running back, had 0 points as well. As far as the rest of it goes, Julius Thomas, tight end for Denver, put up 33 points for Purple Kush Punishers. You put that with Jason Witten, who had 26 points, and 76 for Peyton, and you just become about unbeatable. So they're 5-0. The formerly unbeaten Iowa Brickballers, Lively Libra's team, got beat by Brian the Red's team, the Rip City Chumers, to both go 4-1. Now, Iowa City's got, or Iowa Brickballers has Aaron Rodgers, who put up 39 points, but Rip City Chumers had Drew Brees from New Orleans, who put up 50. But otherwise, good coaching on both teams' parts because everybody who played had a decent score, so it's not like they left a lot of points on the bench. So there's those guys. And again, that puts Rip City Chumers at 4-1, along with Offensive Sack, Los Angeles Rippers, and Iowa Brickballers as our top 5, all at 4-1, all behind the Purple Kush Punishers at 5-0. So there you go. There is our coverage of the 420 Radio Fantasy Football League. And now, let's see, do we have a top of the 8th, Boston 2-1.
Oh, Boston come back.
Boston come back at the top of the 8th, so they're up 2-1.
All right. So,
and we'll move on to NCAA football.
Let's do that.
All right.
Looking at the polls right now.
One quick thing before we go off to before we leave NFL, I can't leave without mentioning Schaub, the quarterback for Houston. 4 games in a row he's thrown a pick 6. First quarterback ever to have done that.
Yeah, it's awful for him. He's going through it rough. I've seen reports where his teammates are standing by his side, and he's still our quarterback. But I think it's over for him in Houston this year. After this year, dude, they're going to run his ass off. But I hope he comes back, man. I really do. I hate to see this go on for anyone. I can't imagine going through that.
Well, we've got NCAA top 25 rankings are still the same for number 1 and 2, Alabama and Oregon. Although Oregon picked up 5 votes for number 1 in the AP top 25.
Well, I was surprised to see Clemson get a first-place vote.
Clemson got a first-place vote in the USA Today poll. They're number 4 in USA Today, number 3 in AP top 25.
I can understand, though, and I can't argue it because, they've done just as well as any team right now, and they've actually got some big-time quality wins.
Ohio State's at 6-0. Stanford comes up at number 5. Florida State at 5-0 as well. So the top 6, all undefeated teams. Number 7, Georgia, comes in at 4-1 with 1 loss, but that 1 loss was to who did Georgia lose to this year?
Georgia lost to Clemson.
Yeah, so not bad.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Clemson, they have a little bit of a resume right now to work with.
Louisville at number 8, Texas A&M number 9 with a 4-1 record. Louisville's still undefeated. And LSU rounds up the top 10 in the AP 25 at 5-1. Oklahoma comes in at number 10 on the USA Today at 5-0.
Well, a couple teams to watch. Baylor. That's right, I said it. Baylor.
15, number 15 in the nation, 4-0.
I think Baylor is looking, if you've been watching them the past few years, they'll put up about 60 points a game. And if you remember RG3, who is now quarterback for the Washington Redskins, he won his Heisman Trophy at Baylor. So Baylor's been building a little bit of a program, and in fact, right now, today, Baylor is the best football program in the state of Texas.
What?
That's what I think.
Wow, all right. We've got University of Washington up to number 16, even with their loss
it was a great
Stanford.
Game.
But it was a great game. Yeah, and they face Oregon in Washington in that Husky Stadium.
It's going to be a great game,
so this is going to be a big
really
test
looking
for
forward.
Oregon.
I'm still going to have to. Oregon's a machine, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them play yet.
I've seen them play,
but it's going to take about 24 guys to stop them.
or let me guess, 11 SEC guys.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to play them. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want to play them.
Yeah.
Woo! They look good. They look really good.
Yes. Boise State had a wonderful game, winning. What was it? 60-7, was it?
I don't know.
I don't think it was that close.
I don't even remember who you played.
Let's check the standings in the WAC, or the MWC, I should say. It used to be the WAC.
Anyways, I got to give Anthony Johnson and his Missouri Tigers a shout out. This guy right here, you're talking about having a great football year. Anthony Johnson, who local activist, does so much great work here in the Portland area and nationally. But dude, he's a Missouri Tiger fan who are 5-0 right now, just joining the top 25, playing a big game this weekend against Georgia, and he's also a Kansas City Chiefs fan who's 5-0. So he is sitting right now at 10-0, basically, if you combine his two teams, and that he's not used to that.
I think it makes up for how lousy his fantasy team is.
Well,
Indica, I think they had the lowest score this last week. So.
Well, that's my only that's my only win. So that dude is bad. If I beat him, he's bad.
Hey, that Boise State score was 60-7 against Southern Miss on the Blue. Now, the game coming up this weekend, Saturday's game, 8 o'clock Eastern on the CBS Sports Network against Utah State. Now, this big game for Boise State Broncos. Utah State sits at the top of the West Division standings in the Mountain West. I'm sorry, the Mountain Division standings in the Mountain West. At 2-0 in the conference, 3-3 overall. Boise State's 1-1 in the conference, so they desperately need this win.
Utah State's
win.
actually a really great program, been building the past few years. They went into Auburn about 3 or 4 years ago. They had that game. They lost the game in the last minute, and they're the ones that choked it away. Auburn ended up doing an onside kick and ended up winning the game, but Utah State has been building.
Yeah, tough game for Boise State coming up, and at 3-2, they really need to continue winning ways. Going 3-3 is not going to help them very much. But these Mountain West teams are getting some notoriety now. Fresno State's number 21 in the nation, sitting at 5-0. People have been talking about Utah State. They've been doing well as well. So we shall see.
No, I like that football being played in that conference. Really, I think they can go against anyone. Put those teams up against any of the teams, and they play some football.
All right, so there's our NCAA look. Coming up on the schedule this coming week, Thursday, we've got San Diego State and Air Force, speaking of Mountain West games. Rutgers got a game at number 8 Louisville on Thursday as well. Friday night's game is a Temple at Cincinnati. And then as far as ranked games go on Saturday, the aforementioned Missouri Tigers break it in at number 25, head to Georgia.
It's a big game. It's a big game. Georgia actually lost a couple of players last weekend in that huge Tennessee game that they had. And I'm not sure I would count Missouri out quite yet.
Number 14 South Carolina heads to Arkansas, which has been playing good football.
They have. And stop right there. Have you got the story coming out of South Carolina? What's going on there?
No.
So South Carolina has Jadavion Clowney, who is pretty much, Mel Kiper says he's the number 1 NFL pick coming out. And he is a beast. You guys have seen him on SportsCenter. He's the one that broke through the Michigan game and clobbered the quarterback. You've seen this highlight 1,000 times at one in ESPY. Anyways, Jadavion Clowney has basically not played a game this year, and when he's out there, he's not playing, and now all of a sudden he's hurt, but the doctors and the coaches and the players say he's not hurt, and he's looking at the number 1 pick. And what do you think about that, Russ?
So, like, trying to take some time off so he doesn't get himself injured in college.
He's like, that's right. He's like, man, I'm sitting here looking at the number 1 pick. This team, we've already lost and not doing good. And Spurrier, man, his hands are tied. If you look at him, he just looks like a drunk coming off a street corner. And I just mean that from just the color of his face and the way he's talking. He's distraught because this is his number 1 dude, and he has no control. And it's almost like it feels like that he can't say anything because Clowney can come out with some information. It's like, you know what I mean? Like all these college, somehow they're getting paid. I don't know. It's just a bad scene.
Yeah. And in other ranked games on Saturday, we've got number 17 Florida at number 10 LSU.
Huge game, LSU. They pretty much have one of the toughest schedules in the league, and they just played Georgia like last weekend, and then lost to Georgia, and now they're having to play Florida, and then they got to play Alabama. I mean, it's just crazy, but should be a huge game. Looking for LSU to win that game, though.
Number 15 Baylor at Kansas State, number 19 Northwestern at Wisconsin, and then 4 o'clock game, number 2 Oregon at number 16 Washington, the other ranked game this weekend.
Really loving Oregon's team, as I mentioned. Looking, you got to circle Stanford, Oregon weekend. That's going to be pretty much the Pac-12 championship game. Now that Washington lost to Stanford, because they did have a chance. Any other team, got to look at UCLA, still undefeated. Feel like they're going to have a stumble somewhere along the line. Not sure Oregon will. Still looking at Oregon.
10:30 game. California heads to number 11 UCLA.
Woo! See, that's what I'm saying. And I'm looking at UCLA to win that game, but they still have some big games coming up, and I still like Oregon.
Right on. All right, well, folks, that's about all the time we got here tonight on Thrasher Sports, but tune in next Thursday. We'll give you the results of the games, talk a little more sports, and we'll smoke some weed while we'll do it.
Have fun out there, guys. Enjoy your teams. Hope they win.
All right, he's Herb Thrasher. I'm Radical Russ. We'll see you next time, and tune in Friday for the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour at 8 o'clock Pacific.